This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. We're here with a regular council meeting for March 1st. I'll do quick introductions and then we will get right into it. Before I do the introductions, we are all online as council. I know the council chambers are open, but council will be voting online through our voting system. And then that's how it is. So with us today, we have Councillor Curtis Clayton.
Morning, everyone. Happy March 1st.
Councillor Shane Pelletier.
Good morning.
Councillor Janine Boulanger.
Morning.
Our CEO, Mitch Duval. And Mitch, just so you know, you have 2 open units. Am I the only one that's seen that?
No, I see it too.
Yeah. I just don't know if there'll be an echo or not. So anyway, Mitch Duval, our CEO.
Morning.
And I think our planning officer is with us, Tanya Waddell.
Morning.
And myself, Chris Ewan. So without further ado, we will start the meeting. Item number 1, meeting called to order. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Clayton.
Thank you. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
You open the meeting at 9:02 a.m. Item 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Any changes? Just a quick notable mention. Councillor Mamchuk is still away right now. That's why it's a 4 council table. Any changes to the agenda?
Not here.
Thank you. Seeing none, I will call for the question. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
You.
Last meeting was held February 16th in the evening, whereby we had a few public hearings, 2 regarding conditional uses, 1 regarding a variance. Also adopted by council were a subdivision. We also moved ahead with 3rd readings on 2 bylaws regarding loans, the cancellation of 1 and the refinancing terms of another. Council also passed 3 development agreements. We also released a letter of credit regarding a subdivision in the Grand Point area, and council also passed a resolution to move forward with an office expansion project. That is it.
Awesome. Okay, I'll open up council. Do you have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 5.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you.
Batch 15799 and total amount of 268,343. Of those invoices in there, we have the GFL garbage and recycling pickup for the month of January for 43,000. Also have med and CRA remittances for 18,500 and 57 respectively. Visa bill for 9,000 and also a GFL GST management fee for 128. Just for council's information, this is GST that GFL has paid throughout 2021, whereby we're in a partnership with them. We can collect the GST, so that's basically what we're doing. It's an in and an out. So we'll pay GFL, but we'll recollect that from the feds.
Perfect. I'll open up for council discussion. Anything to add, comment on? Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Clayton.
2 batches of not paid to be approved. First batch 15812, total amount of 67,376. Second batch 816 in the amount of $231. In regards to the first batch, 15 pages of invoices, but really only 2 of major importance. The Bobcat snowblower attachment has come in, and we've paid that for about 7.3 thousand. And the Winnipeg Metro Region membership fees in the amount of close to $7,000. That is it for that whole batch.
Thank you. We'll open up to council. Any discussion?
Yeah, the amount in the resolution is different for batch 15816.
Okay, I'll double check. Could have sworn I saw that. I knew it was at 11:45 last night when I checked.
Okay.
Other than that, anything else? Please cast your vote. Pardon me.
That is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 5.2.1, council indemnities. Do I have a mover?
Council Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
Indemnities have been presented for council's review for the month of February. I believe the hours range from 11 to 14 for council members. The mayor was a little bit under that, I guess busy with AMM stuff. Other than that, nothing else to report on the matter.
Yeah, I apologize. I was a little preoccupied getting married, Mr. CEO. So, other than that, anything else from council?
Yes, it's been brought to my attention that I accidentally put in 2 hours for a council meeting. I must have copied the previous line and forgot to change it to 0. So if you could, Mr. CAO, take that or adjust it off of my indemnity sheet and readjust the amount, that would be great. Or I can just take 2 hours off the next month, whatever's easier.
Okay, we'll touch.
Okay, perfect. Other than that, that's it. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 5.3 payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover? 5.3 payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't see the screen. I don't know how to dual screen this. I'm getting old in my tech age.
Payroll 3 for January 30th to February 12th. Basically, in summary, a lot of overtime hours and bank hours for Public Works as a result of all the beautiful snow we've been receiving. I use the term beautiful somewhat sarcastically. Needs to be removed, needs to be done and dealt with. So that is where most of the hours are spent.
Thank you. I'll open up to council. Any discussion?
Just a question on these overtime hours. I'm assuming they're somewhat budgeted for the previous year. How much is put in for snow removal, and they've been doing this for quite a while, so I was just curious to see what their process is.
Yeah, so basically in the budget, there's their regular salaries plus an amount for overtime. It could be for snow removal, it could be for street construction come summertime, so that is accounted for. Unfortunately, the hours that we're putting in this winter past January 1st is going to fall under your 2022 budget and not on your 2021 snow removal budget. So, but we'll be accounting for that somehow in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Or Mike may have to not buy a truck in the future. So
We know we can't stop that. Anything else from council? No. Please cast your vote.
vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 6.1, bylaw 3-2022, use of municipal resources during election period. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Craig.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Seal. Just so you know, this isn't open for a vote, Mr. Seal.
Yes, I was going to say we're not going to be voting on the matter just quite yet. I just wanted to have the discussion with council. So this is as a result of the province passing, I believe, Bill 25. What the intent of the bill is to provide an equal and more level playing field for all candidates, municipal candidates, when it comes time for the election. Now, the assumption is that there have been maybe some municipalities that weren't quite, or some municipal candidates that weren't quite playing by the rules in the past, creating the province to implement some kind of safety procedure or regulation in order to help control this matter. So a simple template was provided by the province, and you have that in front of you. In there, it basically shares what resources you can or can't share, time frames regarding when, what is defined as a municipal resource. It's not only just people, but it could be also other items. One interesting one is the municipal logo. I think we've seen that in the past, maybe that they put it on some documentation, and that will now be a no-no to do. So basically, the point of discussion is the enforcement part, and it kind of puts, and I've mentioned this to the province, it kind of puts administration at an awkward position, because we are supposed to be enforcing what can be our future bosses moving down the road. So we have to maybe sometimes dance a fine line when it comes to enforcement. And the province did not provide an enforcement clause. They've left it open up to the individual municipalities to take a look at. That's good, but I would have really preferred that the province also give us an example of what kind of enforcement can be done. Now, just thinking outside the box, I believe there's two ways you could do it. You could do it under the Provincial Offences Act, the POA, or under our Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Act, the MBEA. The MBEA basically gives the municipality authority under their enforcement, bylaw enforcement. So it would be the commissioners doing the enforcement, issuing the ticket, and with the appeal process to the screening officer, et cetera, et cetera. The POA, the Provincial Offences Act, would then only go to the Court of Queen's Bench for collection purposes. So it kind of removes the municipalities entirely for enforcement. Just wanted to get council's opinion on the matter. I think what I'll also do is based on this discussion, reach out to our legal, Greg Cramley, and just try to have that clause 6 in the bylaw legalized in terms, as far as my opinions as well, that I've provided to council. So, and I think a few other municipalities, I know we got CAO email thread yesterday regarding what are you guys doing, So basically, I'm going to try to take the lead on this one and provide some information for our group of CAOs out there.
Excellent. Any comments from council?
Well, I guess that was, thanks for that, Mr. CEO. I guess that was one of my first questions. What are the other municipalities doing? But it sounds like this is still fresh. And I guess for me, regarding the enforcement, you know, a monetary penalty might be one thing, but you know, if someone does, I guess, win an election and at some point you find along the way that, you know, I guess the bylaw was breached, or that, you know, something happened along the way, I guess my question would be, is the result still valid? know if we're looking at it that closely or not. That would just be an issue I would be looking at.
It's a good comment.
As you mentioned, Councillor Clayton, it is very fresh. We received the bylaw maybe a couple of weeks ago at our last municipal services officers phone call conference. Last Thursday was discussed, but nothing much more than that. So a lot of the CEOs are all scratching their heads going, how do we handle this? How do we move ahead? So a lot of questions out there.
My couple concerns reading this was, why isn't this just get put in the Elections Act for the province? And why is it getting offloaded on the municipality or even in the Municipal Act, whichever would govern this properly? And there's no mention of RM buildings. Case in point, if I rent the hall and do an open house for constituents, if somebody else can't afford it, is that going to be considered a use of a municipal building? It didn't really touch on that at all in the exemptions.
Well, doesn't that fall under our max campaigns expenditures? Like you can only spend so much. Oh, I see what you're saying. One person can't even get the, yeah, okay, never mind. Never mind.
And the resources, Councillor Pelche, we could always add that as part of the resources, that you're not able to rent a municipal building or hall for the purpose of election campaigning. I quite agree. Why did they not put it as part of the Elections Act? They didn't. They passed it on to the municipalities. So that is kind of where we're stuck with right now.
Was your association for CAOs, why don't we push back? Because if they don't even have this in the Municipal Act saying that we need to enforce it. And it's not that I see an issue happening in our municipality with this. I just don't see why it's getting pushed off when the legislation should be at the provincial level.
We are, believe next week is when we're having our next MSO conference call. I could relay that. I could also send them an email right away after this meeting regarding council's comments. Not sure how that will fall at their end or at our end. I believe that for 2022 elections, we'll have to put this bylaw into place. And the bylaw needs to be in place by 180 days before the election. So mid to late April would be the time to have it given third reading as well. So it doesn't give us too much time to rebel or negotiate, but we'll see what we can do at our end. In the meantime, I think I will still be able to just discuss matters with our legal to see what kind of clauses we could add in there, if that's okay with council.
Good with me.
Yeah, I think if we have legal look at it, Mitch, because if the province hasn't put this in any of their laws, then and they just told us to do this, I don't think we need to worry about it, to be honest with you.
Mitch, maybe when you send it to MMA, if you do end up doing that, just CC AMM on that too, because they might have some input as well.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, excellent. Moving on. There's no vote for that. 7.1.1 Taché Richotte boundary realignment study. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelche.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you.
All right, in continuation with our project, land annexation, swap, all that good terminology with the arm of Taché. We're now at a point where we need to go to a stage 2 proposal. Scatcliff Miller Murray provided us with a cost estimate for that, which also includes legal. Total cost is $85,000, which is what we kind of had figured from the get-go. So we'd be cost sharing that, those costs with the arm of Taché. The arm of Taché has already passed their resolution to move forward with this. Recommendation to council will be to do the same, and hopefully there's some timeframes, I believe, built into their proposal as well. So hopefully we could try to keep things on track. I did follow up with Taché and their public works regarding the land drainage study area that we want to do as well, and I have not heard back from them at this point in time.
Thank you. I'll open up for council discussion. Council, anything to add, comment on?
With everything here myself, I'm just curious. We're talking about phase 2 right now, and if we get to the next phase, would it sort of be obvious to say that we're talking about the execution of the annexation, so consultation that's involved, or would it just be?
That is, yeah, that is correct. So basically phase 2 is basically the implementation of what we've been discussing. There'll be public consultations, bylaws, agreements, et cetera, all basically winding up in the hands of the municipal board for approval.
Great.
So there's no other costs associated with this after?
Maybe just some medication expenses for the CEOs having gone through this, but other than that, I don't believe so.
I'll make a note of that, Mr. CEO. Anything else from council? No? Okay, Castor. Sorry, go ahead.
Confirm what Mitch was saying there. This basically gives us our package to give to the municipal board. There really shouldn't be anything after that. Maybe some legal costs on our side, I would imagine, with Greg, Mitch, if that would be a fair assessment.
I think there's always going to be some costs afterwards, just what they are unknown at this point in time. I know that Greg will be the legal representing both sides on this moving forward, which is great. So as long as the friendliness of both parties exist, I think we could get this done without too many issues. And once we do get the annexation done, I'm sure there'll be some other stuff to handle after that. So.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'll get council to cast their vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 10, adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you. Any final comments? Please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. I'll close the meeting at 9:25 a.m. Please stop recording.